Hey there, in today's video, I am showing you a super easy way to use your collage paper or artwork that you have done on paper, heavier paper, because often, again, that stuff stacks up and we need ideas and ways of using it. So I'm just showing you a simple a simple way that I use my paper and my artwork to personalize a gift bag. And it cannot get any easier than that. So I hope you give it a try, and I hope this spurs you on to be thinking about ideas and ways of using your art rather than letting it just sit in piles and stacked up, because the world needs to enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get started. I've saved you the misery of going through all my papers with me. So I have made some selections and I've actually cut them to size with I have like a paper trimmer, and so which you wouldn't necessarily need. You could cut with scissors, you could actually tear the edges, that would be great too. So, okay, what am I talking about? I'm talking about how I converted my collage papers onto a paper bag in order to make it for a gift. So I just used a few simple supplies. I quickly went through my stash and cut papers that would fit. So, okay, yeah, could you glue them? Yes, you could. You could glue this down. Let's use one that you can actually see. You could glue this down. What I have found though, I have done this before, but not the way I'm gonna show you, I haven't. I don't know. That way, if people want to reuse the bag, then they have this, I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't work as well to have it glued on here. Of course it would work, but I'm gonna show you a different way. So first off, I cut my papers to fit about 1 inch in. So this one was about 8 by 5.5. So I cut some of the papers 1 inch around, so that there would be a 1 inch border. So 7 by 4.5. And then I decided I wanted some smaller ones just for the sake of example. And I cut them another inch smaller. So then there's a larger border. Okay, and then I did the same thing using a little bit larger bags, just 1 inch in and then smaller. What the papers that I'm using are heavier papers. It's paper that is on craft grocery bags. It's on heavier book paper, or book paper that I can feel it has gesso on it, so it's a little bit sturdier. This one was actually this was an old calendar that I worked on. So there's all different kinds. This is actually cardstock. So use your heavier papers, your collage papers. This is music paper and book paper, and then craft paper. But it's not my super thin or fragile book paper, because I find that tears really easy. It doesn't adhere, it doesn't stick as well, not the stick. It doesn't stay put, and it has a tendency to tear. So I would use heavier paper for this project, but definitely give it a try, however it works best, whatever you think. So, okay, let's take a smaller bag to start. And again, I'm not measuring anything, I am just eyeballing it. So I have, I'm gonna set these over here with this stack, just so we're not confused. I have a stack that I've gone through and looked at to see, does this work or not? Now I will say it was easier for me to find these smaller pieces than the bigger pieces, because the bigger pieces I've already started cutting down. And you might wonder, why would I do the white? But I actually really like this. I thought the white on white with the black, I just really like that. So again, you just kind of go through, maybe you think about the person that you're gifting it to. Obviously you have the color choices that they might like. I have a family member that prefers brighter colors, so I'd probably use this one versus this one, which would be my personal favorite. So maybe I'll use that one. And then this one. So again, looks like I painted my paintbrush, and then I just did some swoops, like I call them C's or N's, or whatever letter of the alphabet you want to use. And very simple, but it can make a really great statement. So what I do is I just eyeball it, and then you could measure, you could do all kinds of stuff. You could tape it in place and then do this if you're too scared. I have 2 hole punches. I have a really tiny one and a bigger one. In this case, I'm going to use the tinier one, which is really tiny. I don't know if you can see how tiny that is. Because I have these brads. Then I'm going to adhere a brad. I have, wow, 1,000 million brads back from, I don't know, when I was making cards more often and kind of crafting a little bit, but I just never got rid of all of my brads. So a lot of these are a little too vibrant for me that I probably wouldn't use, so maybe I should go through those. But it's fun to have, and they don't take up a lot of space, and I do have them organized into these little bins. So here's what I would do. So I would take this and eyeball it, as you can see I'm doing, and if it's crooked, that's just, that's just how it goes. So, and then kind of holding it, I will, okay, hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna take my smaller punch, and obviously if the small punch doesn't work well, or you need a bigger one, you can do it bigger. Okay, it's a little awkward to do it on camera like this, but let's just see what happens. And I try to get in the middle the best I can. Okay, so I've got my little hole. I'm just going to use one of these larger brads, and they're a little bit bigger, so I may need to punch that again, or I could have used the bigger hole punch. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is my gift bag. So essentially, I would open it up, and I think you can see, I'll try to take a photo of that. But what I will do is, actually you don't need to, you can see this here. So I would do the same thing with all of them that I wanted. All of these we could convert into bags like this. You could have them ready, or you could just make them as you will, which is what I do. I don't kind of pre-plan my bags, but I do always have collage papers and different papers like this so that I can always make, and I always have kind of plain bags. Now I will say, even if you had a bag that had a store name on it, you could certainly use that and put this over the top of it. It's actually, that's a really great use of repurposing a bag. Let's do one of these larger ones. So again, I have a couple different, and I think the impact of this slightly larger bag is bigger. I like the art feels it feels like more of an art, like, whoa, that's an art bag. And the impact, I think, is bigger and greater. So, okay, so I have to choose. And obviously in these collage papers for these bigger ones, I was using a lot of the same. So it was burnt sienna and black and white. And then this one here. So I think, I really do. I really like that one. Let's see. Well, actually, I like the smaller one too, but I think I'm gonna go with this bigger one here. So again, just make your choice based on your own personal preference, or make it based on the person that you are going to give this to. Now, clearly, there's no right or wrong way. I could have gone it this way, although I don't like it as much that way. So I'm doing it in the direction that I find I like the best. And I'm going to just use my small hole punch again and try to center it. And, obviously, you guys, you would take more care. You wouldn't be doing it in front of other people, so you could get this centered a little bit better than what I'm doing right now. And okay, so my hole punch is barely fitting. I do have another larger hole punch now that I'm thinking of it, but I'm just gonna use this for the sake of demonstration. So you may run into this where you need a larger or a longer hole punch, or it's not gonna be maybe as centered, at the bottom. So now I did that, and then I moved it. So now I gotta punch another hole. Let's see. Okay, that's what happens when you're talking and you're trying to do something. Let's use one of these little ones. Okay, so it is fun to have some different, maybe ones that coordinate with the art that you're making. There is, I don't know why this one is not wanting to go in. There we go. Okay, so there it is. It's not quite centered, but obviously doing it upside down and then doing it on camera doesn't lend itself to maybe doing it perfectly, but again, it's not necessarily perfect. So I would, I'll show you the ones I did at Christmas. I'll open this up real quick so you can kind of see it when it's in its glory. I hope that this gives you some inspiration to maybe make some bags and to use, again, use what you have it's amazing that there are so many ways that you can use the art pieces that you have besides putting them on a canvas or behind a frame. You can gift, or this can be an encouragement to somebody else. It's like, wow, look at that cool thing you made. Now, honestly, this could also be, if you were giving a birthday present, wouldn't that be fun to have like a birthday cake or a flowers or a vase or something like that? That would also be super fun, or to coordinate with what you're seasonally to what you're giving. But obviously it's whatever you have, and I think whoever you give this gift to in this type of a bag, I think they appreciate the personal touch that you have done and the effort that you've gone to give them something unique and special. So I hope this encourages you to pull out your stash and see what you can do with it. The next time you're giving a gift, that you might think twice. You might not go buy that bag. You might make your own bag. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.